Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the English news from Djibouti channels. Here are the main stories of our editions. The Minister of Education received the Director General of Arab Organizations for Education, Culture and Science. On continental news, the campaign in USA. Welcome if you join us. Yes, midterm of US election. That were our top stories, and now let's get to the detail. The Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Mahmoud, received the visit of the Director General of ALESCO, Dr. Saoud Hilal. The meeting took place in the Minister's office in the presence of the Secretary General, Mr. Mohamed Abdullah Mahyoub, and other senior officials of the main FOB. During their discussions, the Minister and his distinguished guests spoke about the project to transform the Djiboutian school. This is important for the Minister to outline his ambitions to meet the challenges of the quality of education and training and the strategies he intended to implement to achieve this project. It's also important to discuss the objectives of the strengthening bilingual education in school and strengthening the capacity of pedagogical staff in technique. As saw earlier, the Minister of Muslims Affairs, Culture and Welfare Goods, Mr. Momin Hassan Barre, also received this morning the Director General of Arab Organizations. The Minister welcomed this visit, which will contribute to reinforce a rich and varied cooperation with the Pan-Arab institution. He expressed his congratulations to the Director General for his appointment as head of this organization. He expressed the wish to promote cultural exchange and implementation of joint programs aimed at strengthening cultural and artistic links. Education is a prosperous and promising investment for the future of young Djiboutians. For more details, Hidayah has more to tell us. She prepared a report about this project. Let's follow it.
The opening of private higher education institutions has become a common phenomenon in the field of education in recent years. Currently, the private sector is seen as the engine of economic development, with young entrepreneurs starting to create jobs in various areas of Djiboutian society. In May 2014, private higher education was approved in Djibouti by a presidential decree at a meeting of the Council of Ministers. Private higher education institutions are placed under the supervision of the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research. In order to diversify access to higher education, the government of Djibouti has authorized the establishment of private higher education institutions to meet the growing need for higher education and develop a qualified workforce. Today, there are 2 institutions of private higher education in the country, such as the SKA, Higher Institute of Accounting and Business Administration. The first private institute that was created in 2011 in Djibouti, the EAD, the Djiboutian African Institute and Islam Center with Arabic Academy of Financial and Banking Sciences. These private institutions focus mainly on the teaching of tertiary sector, namely accounting, management, secretariat, administration, tourism, hotel management, and finally move more and more to the secondary sector, including electronics, the electricity, and other fields. They also offer diploma courses, either as part of initial training or continuing education. In general, these private institutions are attended by more than 2,000 students in order to continue vocational training, as well as public and private workers who want to raise their skill level. Several other students have chosen to continue their higher education in the private sector to study in their specific field. Higher education is qualified by the state as a powerful tool for economic development by providing the population with the necessary skills on which development depends. Higher education also broadens opportunities and creates hope, stabilizing and equalizing society, and creating a new generation of people who stand out through their education and abilities. Higher education, which was once taught only in the public sector, has seen its importance rise to another level. Although it is now taught only in the public sector, it is surely and slowly becoming more inclined to establish itself in the private sector in the near future.
The Minister of Tourism and Trade, in collaboration with the Islamic Development Bank, the Arabic Tourism Organizations, had the 10th training seminar, More from the People Palace, composed of different thematic workshops. The work of the seminars was opened this morning. The Minister of Trade and Tourism, Mr. Hassan Hamad Ibrahim, and the Secretary General of the Arab Organizations of Tourism, Mr. Saud Al-Jibril. During this 10th day, the workshop consists of 3 modules, will be animated by 5 expert Egyptian trainers from the private operators of the tourism sector in Djibouti. In an interview agreed with the RTD reflects of the expert in currents, Mrs. Rima. She respectively specialized of restorations and tourism. We have given more explanations on the holding and this training workshop will bring more for the employees in field of tourism, she concluded. A working meeting to validate the Djibouti support program of the International Fund of Agricultural Development named FIDA for the period from 2019 to 2024 was held today at the Sheraton Hotel. This meeting was jointly organized by the Minister of Agriculture, Water and Fisheries Resources and the International Fund of Agriculture Development. This program will focus on helping people in coastal areas and rural to improve their livelihoods, adapt and even resist climate change called resilience. The meeting also included the participation of the Minister, the Directors of International Fund of Agricultural Development, the representative of WFP and the Secretary General of Ministry of Agriculture, Water, Fisheries and Fishery Resources. This program will help the population concerned to access basic food resource. The Djiboutian Federations of Decathlon closed yesterday in Asaila a training course that lasted 3 days and brought together participants from abroad. The Minister of Equipment and Transport, Mr. Mohammed Abdul Qadir, participated in the closing ceremony in the presence of the master founder of Decathlon from Luaita Mohammed and the Sultan of Gobad Habib Boko, Inspector General of the CEHES Mr. Musa Ali, Acting CDC Director Mr. Ahmed Ali, and several high-ranking officials from the region, as well as participants from France and Senegal. The Djiboutians were not left out since more than 200 young people made the trip to take part in the ceremony and to offer to the public members a spectacle of acrobatics, willow and yellow, in short, all the beauty of this typical Djiboutian martial art. The minister's his part congratulations during his speech on behalf of the Secretary of State on his own and the Sensei and the federations of the organization of such an important internship. He also assured that Sensei of his unwavering support. He finally ended his speech by thanking the President of the Republic, Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, for his constant investment in the promotions and development of youth through various support activity and especially the Caterio and national pride. A strong delegation composed of Deputy Aisha Abdullah Hadi Ahmed and Deputy Hassan Omar Mohammed went on Saturday the locality of Karta and later to distribute food for the poor populations of this region. Indeed, to contribute to the fight against malnutrition, the parliamentarians decided to went to this population affected by malnutrition. The children attending school in the region were able to benefit from rice ensured with essential micronutrients essential to their growth. The mothers of family appreciated this commendable gesture of the part of the elected representatives of the people. The public did not fail to thank the parliamentarians who came to their home to inquire about their situations. In recent years, the Djiboutian cheese has multiplied. The RTD team give us an update on this report.
Of a small industrial unit, we will popularize to the Djiboutians public a company that has made up places in the productions of household products on the national market. It is Anglais company that produces soap powders in sufficient quantities. Since 2010, this private company is installed in the industrial zones is able to satisfy the national market with the product used daily by Djiboutians. But Djiboutians consumers are not always at the if we compare the local productions and the quantities of soap powders imported each year from abroad. The company produces soap powder for Djiboutian consumers in quantities and sufficient quality. Several varieties and brands of soap come out of the production unit every day. With 15 soap, it amount of 18 grams. The marks Helac 115 or 14 grams, and soap powders mark job of 100 grams. The startups of Anglais activities has resulted in the creation of some 13 direct jobs for young people and also around 20 indirect jobs to sell the product in the local market. According to a survey conducted by our reporters, the company Anglais has a daily production capacity between 12 and 16 tons of soap powder, which makes a total of about 415 tons per month. The annual production is estimated at 5,000 tons per year, a quantity that can satisfy the needs of national market of soap powder. Despite ample local productions for the local market, several brands of soap are imported into the national market. With an annual importation is not forbidden in a liberal economy of our country, which is developing thanks to commercial activities. But this importation has a negative impact on the promotions of a small industrial unit and also on the national economy. With annual productions of 5,000 tons of soap powder that can largely satisfy the national needs, Anglais societies participate at its level in the economic development of Djibouti and deserves the support of the population. The ball is in the camp of the Djiboutian consumer, who must show their patriotism by giving preference to local products made in Djibouti and thus participate in their way to the economic development of our country.
Now on continental news, in USA, the first national elections meeting since the 2060 elections will determine who will control both houses of Congress until the next presidential elections on November 3, 2020. The Republican does not hold the suspensions on his candidacy for this vote, joking about his next slogan, translated by maintain and greatness of America, and ensuring that his debate against the future Democratic candidates will be very easy. On the Democratic side, it's his predecessors Barack Obama, who has denied the customs of the saviors after spending 22 months in relative political reserve. 8 years ago, Barack Obama was about to undergo a Republican tide as his own first midterm election. It was the revolutions of the conservative Tea Party movement. Here we arrive at the end of this news. Thank you for watching us. Goodbye.